So my overall initial impressions for these three, I think they're all pretty good. They're pretty decent, honestly. Um, so far, like right now, I'm currently rocking elixir is my scent of the day, and I think that out of the three of these, this one easily has the biggest projection. You know, um, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say it's a bold and loud fragrance, but it definitely is. At least to me, subjectively speaking, it is definitely approaching into that category. So if I were to put this into a category, I mean, it is a sweet and spicy fragrance, but it's a sweet and spicy fragrance that is approaching the bold and loud territory. So I think again, with this particular fragrance, I could say that this is like a Playboy party kind of fragrance. I think that'd be an easy answer for me to say, but for me personally, it's, number one, it's a bold and loud fragrance, but I do appreciate look, I like powerhouse fragrances. I like fragrances with both good projection and both good longevity too. So again, longevity. I wore this the other day. I got about a good 5.5, 6, about between 5 to 6 hours out of this particular fragrance. So, um, is it really the best performing fragrance? Well, I mean, for me, that's good for me, right? I know objectively speaking, 5 to 6 hours, it's not really considered to be all that good. But to me, if I'm getting like 5.5, 6 hours ish out of this particular, out of any fragrance, that's to me, because I'm not really particularly used to getting that kind of longevity. Uh, and I think that, again, that alone, the performance alone, right? So it smells good and it also has good performance. That all the more reason makes it worth wearing. You know what I'm saying? So it smells good and it's got good performance, good projection, and look, 5 6 hours longevity. That's good, right? That's gonna get you through at least most of your day, right? Or at least a good portion of it, right? So that's to me that's a plus, right? Not the best, not gonna say top tier or the best end all be all, but sure, this gets a check for me. And again, out of the three, I give this one a slight edge, right? So it gets a slight edge in terms of performance and in terms of being the most, like loudest, standoutish fragrance. So again, I would say clubbing, for partying and clubbing, but honestly, man, in any situation where you just want to stand out, I think, for any guy that just, if you want attention, you're gonna get noticed with this shit. You know what I'm saying? This shit will get you noticed. But again, I have to, not to go too deep, but you got to have the right confidence, right? You got to make sure that the fragrances you wear match your personality. So, if you don't have, because this is a bold fragrance, you got to have takes a certain guy or girl with a certain amount of confidence to really wear this particular fragrance, right? As with a lot of others, but still with this one, takes a certain guy, right? Not an alpha guy necessarily. I'm not saying you got to be a fucking dominant alpha guy, but you definitely got to have a little bit of balls, a little bit of, again, a certain amount of confidence with this fragrance. So that's really all I got to say. Now I've tried the 1 million EDT, and the performance was ass. Like the performance was dookie. So, and it could just be me. Like all the people that talked about 1 million, the regular, said they got exceptional performance. Like the overwhelming majority of them, right? For me though, when I tried it, now again I understand, reformulations, blah blah blah. So again I take into consideration that there are factors involved, which is why I don't really make mention of it or talk about it. But because the performance of this is better than the original, I give this one a slight edge. Right? It smells better. This doesn't have the cinnamon sweetness that the 1 million does. That's the biggest, the main, or really the only difference, really. Not to, you know, I like that cinnamon sweetness in 1 million. That's why I was really digging it at that particular time, which wasn't really too long ago. This doesn't have that sweetness. This is a much more fuller, richer, well-rounded, kind of a sweetness. Um, so almost like a more mature version of 1 million, almost like a grown-up version. That would be the best and easiest way to describe it. So again, I've only tried, this is the only flanker I've tried. So, but so far, man, I'm digging this, man. I could, I'm, is this worth buying? You know, because the performance is pretty good, I think it's worth buying. Uh, Definitely worth getting a decant. I don't think there's really no denying. This is definitely worth getting, a decant for this for sure. Maybe not a full bottle, but easily I would definitely get a decant of this shit. This is a nice banger. Like I could wear this, in a very, could wear this there's definitely some use for this. But anyway, uh, next one is Calvin Klein. What's this one? Yeah. So this one, Calvin Klein Defy, another good one. Out of the three of these, I think this one is the most balanced, or most versatile, right? Most wearable. So out of these three, I think that this one is the most wearable one. Now this is a fresh and clean. So we got this one, elixir. That's a sweet and sexy, a sweet spicy fragrance. We got this one, fresh and clean, right? But this one though, at first I thought this was soapy, right? I've spent a little bit of time with it, not a lot, but enough to become at least familiar enough with its character archetype and the overall vibe. This one is basically in the fierce family. So I look at this as a more like casual, like a super duper casual version of fierce, right? A weaker, casual version of fierce. Now that's not a bad thing, right? I'm just being objective. I'm a fan of fierce. I like fierce. Now I do think that this would be a great cheaper alternative to fierce, right? I know that fierce is definitely a little bit more on the expensive side, and I know that this, I'm not sure how much this is, but or how much a full bottle, whatever. Anyway, this would be a great cheaper alternative to fierce, right? So I fuck with this, right? I would definitely, this is it's worth it. And again, in terms of versatility, this is a little bit more. Obviously, this is more quieter. This isn't as bold and loud as this shit right here. But you know, again, casual work. This is the perfect signature work fragrance, I think, or an ideal work fragrance, or a good casual. It could go all around, casual, professional, formal. I don't see any place you wouldn't really want to be able to wear this. Again, it's in the fierce family, so look, it's got likability. Obviously, it lacks a certain degree of originality, but who the fuck cares? Anyway, so that's my 2 cents on Defy. Good fragrance, worth checking out. All right. So the last one here is this John Varvados XX. Now this one gets compared to Polo Red Extreme. I have not tried Polo Red Extreme, but this is like a warm, spicy coffee kind of fragrance. This to me though, this is like a cold weather fragrance, right? So this is something I would wear. You know, instinctually, most people would put this into a fall winter fragrance. Okay, sure, but you know, I'm in spring right now, and I don't really give a fuck about that. It's kind of irrelevant. I would wear this again, when it's cold, right? So like particularly at night, evenings, on cooler days, cooler nights. This is the, and it smells good. So performance isn't too far off. I mean, I think that the performance on this isn't as good as Elixir, um, right? But this character has strength to it, right? So first place in strength goes to Elixir, second place goes to this, and then Defy would be the weakest, in terms of like strength projection wise. But honestly, man, it's not too far off from Elixir. This is actually a pretty relatively strong character. This performs pretty decent, man. I would definitely say this is no slouch. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time with this character. So again, I'm still pretty much in my initial stages. Um, but I think these fragrances are worth checking out. I think they're worth wearing. So again, I still got a little bit of juice left of this. I'm gonna keep rocking it a little bit more. But to me, like I said, a cold weather fragrance doesn't have that sort of. This is a more intimate, warm, cozy kind of fragrance. Like think of this like as like a Netflix and chill kind of a vibe. Chill by the fireplace. A really laid back, casual vibe. I like it. I dig it, man. So for those kind of people that gravitate towards that type of impression and vibe, this would be good. Again, this gets compared hard to people put this, or the overall general consensus is that this would be like in the Polo Red family. Okay, I've worn imitations of Polo Red, so I have a general ballpark idea, but this definitely smells good, no doubt about it. Like smell gets a check, performance gets a check, doesn't smell cheap. Um, Again, it's kind of got that. Again, it's a sweet and spicy fragrance. Not like this one though. It's a different kind of sweet and spicy. It's a more of a coffee-ish sweet kind of vibe, um, but not sugar coffee like, but just like but it's got a sweetness to it for sure. That's not too youthful or playful. Again, I think it's relatable, applicable to most guys. Um, I think these are all pretty much applicable to pretty much anybody, for the most part. I don't think they're really geared towards any specific crowd. Again, with this one, being the bold and loud. This one again, This is a casual, a really laid back personality, a laid back character. So, um, that's pretty much it, man. So we got John Varvados XX, Elixir, Defy. You know, um, like I said, out of all these, out of these three, you know, this one, the most wearable, versatile, gets a slight edge for that. The most potent, this one, biggest projection so far. And this one is just, kind of in between, right? Not, so yeah, that's what I gotta think so far. Those are my overall initial impressions so far.